to the Dope Ass Aunties podcast,
where we politic and parlay.
Good job, Coley. Welcome back, everybody. We are joined by the none other Cameron Trimble. Did I say your last name right?
Yeah.
No.
As a none other, jump right into it. I'm trying to make sure my phone was on airplane mode.
Well, we appreciate that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi, welcome.
Hello. Welcome to Dope Ass Aunties podcast.
How you feeling?
I'm amazing. Thanks for having me on. This feels good. This feels right. This
Good.
feels dope.
Yay. You feel our magic.
None other. I love that intro.
So for those listening, watching, Cam, who I affectionately call him Cam, and we went to Howard together.
HU?
HU, the
All
real
right.
HU. And
What's the fake HU?
Hampton University.
Oh.
Hampton
Wow.
Institute.
We
The
support
Institute.
all HBCUs.
We do, and we'll get into that a little later in the show. But Cam and I's origin story happened at Howard University, the Mecca, the capstone,
The hilltop.
the everything.
Oh, okay.
And we were in undergrad together, just trying to make our way in life.
And look at the way we made.
And look at the
Oh.
way we
Way
made.
downtown.
So, Cam, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about your journey from undergrad to now. And you can give us like the exciting, juicy Shondaland cliff notes.
the exciting clip. The exciting cliff notes.
Yeah.
Thank you both for having me on today. This feels good. I like the energy. I like the. Is it the crystals that you have in here? Something. Once I sat down for a second and just watched like.
Well, let's
that
cheers to
action-
that.
let's cheers
Drink it
to
on
that.
in.
Crystals.
Okay.
Yes.
To all the listeners, all the dope ass aunties out there, Cameron Trimble, CEO and founder of Politics Incorporated. We're a media and engagement company focused on mobilizing the next generation of political leaders and civic engaged citizens. Really born out of hip hop. I'm here, out here on the West Coast, which I understand why now that I've been here for a couple months, why people say the West Coast is the best coast. That's all it is. I'm feeling the vibes. But I'm out here actually teaching at USC for a semester as a visiting fellow.
And where do you normally reside?
Normally, I'm from Washington, D.C. I live in Washington, D.C. I've been there 20 years, but I'm from Cleveland.
Okay.
Like I gotta rep my hometown. Like I got both Cleveland and D.C. tatted on me.
Oh,
I'd say
okay.
those are the two cities that have made me both as a young man and as an adult now. But
You're going to get LA tatted on you next because that's the city that's forging you into this next chapter.
is it now?
So you're going to really remember LA.
No, I mess with LA. I love the vibe. I love the weather. I love the people, the diversity of people, and I love that you guys are in your own little pocket. Not own little, a big pocket, but stuff that is either happening in LA or happening on the West Coast is really what's obviously front of mind, and like being 3 hours behind, like it almost is like two different worlds between here in the East Coast. I think people underestimate what that difference in that separation can be, but so it's created its own culture that is really self-reliant that I mess with.
And I really like to hear you say that as someone who isn't an LA native, because we hear like a lot of the transplants say things like LA is fake, there's no people of color, there's no real
There's no culture
here, and there is. The natives kind of keep it a secret for a little bit, and you got to earn our trust. And once we know you're not about to just run it into the ground, we will slowly start to introduce you to the magic and the secrets and our friends and our family and our hood spots, our community, right?
There's definitely a difference out here of like somebody who invites you to like the party you see on Eventbrite or the trendy place versus like come to this spot, this restaurant, this bar.
A backyard boogie, too.
Yes, this house. And the type of people you meet, like the energy, the music, the dress, the lingo. You guys people are really nice. If you meet native LA folks.
And I don't want to skip over this part. So you are out here because you are doing what at USC?
I'm teaching a class on digital democracy after the Kamala Harris loss. Kamala Harris, Tim Walz campaign,
That
unfortunate
hurt.
losing. Yeah,
I,
it hurt.
I still
Hurt us for
cry
real.
every night.
Needed something to do. Well, obviously I had something to do. We had a company, but just it was a little bit of directionless, and I knew I wanted to pour into, be more focused on pouring into the next generation, not just young, both young people, but literally the next generation. Because like what I do professionally, what I've been doing,
Mm-hmm.
kind of didn't exist because the technology didn't exist more than 20 years ago. But even that this is a path
Mm-hmm.
to be able to be impactful and make the kind of money and put the kind of people on and collaborate on the kind of projects
Mm-hmm.
didn't exist. So we need to make sure that there's more viewer, like at every level, like, oh, there's other levels to what we can do
Right.
in the advertising space, in the marketing space, in the digital space, all these things, just even in the world of politics. So politics and civic engagement. So I'm trying to get more talent and more
Can
people
you
thinking
talk
about
about
it.
your resume a little bit
Oh,
when
Because
it
you're a
comes
fellow at
to?
USC. You're not just over here like, hey, let me just teach a few classes at night. No, like you're there as a fellow, right? You're in a fellow program. I've seen the
What is a fellow
participants.
program? We're using lingo that you
no,
know.
it's I'm there teaching. Basically, it's a the cliff notes of it. It is a center that came at a lot of universities, like either a really rich family or a foundation will come in and say, I want this school to have a space for this type of education and thought to go on,
Mm-hmm.
or something to go on. So this is a bipartisan uh, program that was endowed at the university. So they bring Republicans and Democrats in politics, elected officials, former mayors, former U.S. senators, people in the media, to teach topics to their students
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
who have to get involved, and they're going to go on to be the next leaders.
Mm-hmm.
USC is a super prestigious global university, so people come from USC go on to run big businesses, do stuff internationally. They have a huge international um, population of students from
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
like China to Asia to Africa
India.
and so many India, so many places. So this is an opportunity, like the next global political leaders, whether they're elected or they're the people who work at the firms, people who work in building major civil and social organizations,
Mm-hmm.
they get trained here. They get
Mm-hmm.
trained at some of these major
Universities.
universities
Mm-hmm.
to be able to go on and be those next leaders. And like it's a very different. So that's what they brought me in to talk about it, because digital, I believe, it's like we're in a digital first world. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
look at
Yeah,
the platform we're on right now.
Yes.
Everything
for
is
sure.
digital, and we're trying to, so many other things are trying to catch up into this, like everything being a fully digital first world now, in this generative AI like at the tip of that iceberg,
Mm-hmm.
and all that's going to come from that. So how it's changing our world, it's changing our politics, it's changing so many things about it.
Ooh, don't get me started on the
So
politics.
I'm in the business of it,
Let
of
me
like,
ask you this: do you think it's important to teach students how to use AI properly? Like, because I teach high school, and I think that the helplessness that is going on in the classroom right now, like I try to teach them to be,
Shortcuts.
yeah, in their independent thinking. Like, okay, you don't know what a concept is. Like, ask AI this question that you have about it, and you know what I'm saying, and then form your opinion on it, based on your learnings, or
Mm-hmm.
if you question something, then go deeper, and
I I understand the premise and the point of that question, because I've been on a lot several different AI related topic boards and panels, and we've been unpacking that a few different ways. I would answer it this way: is that the same way computers, the same way I'm sorry, excuse me, the same way computers, the same way electricity, the same way like the internet,
Mm-hmm.
of unlocking a 10x level of like human capability,
Mm-hmm.
human interaction. And like, think about before in the 1800s, before we had mass electricity, like the amount of different things that were able to sprout out just because you now could power and could see at night,
Yeah.
and could do so much more. The 10x of like the average computer, both behind the scenes to now, and
Mm-hmm.
like how you couldn't even perceive like, hey, should I be teaching kids about computers and stuff? 10 years later, and like, that's a silly question. It's more so it's integrated in everything we're doing.
Right.
The question that you're getting to is like, it's almost, it just came to the market year 1, year 2. It's like asking about video games when the first Nintendo dropped.
Mm.
Yes,
Well, now there's like lawsuits on if you've allowed your children to, I don't know, play this game and they experience, like.
I'd say with the AI, teach everything you can and it be evolved in it. I think that we have a lot of different things where we're going to tackle as a society about how it integrates into what we do. We're rethinking a lot, the same way we rethought a lot when things went to a digital world.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no wrong answer. I would dare to say on that, we're all kind of at the starting point, black, white, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's more than enough information to get to know and want to learn about it.
Let me tell you something. AI helps me as an auntie with homework because, like,
first of all, they're doing math differently now.
They are doing math differently.
Core,
fractions don't look like fractions.
Yeah.
Fractions looks like
you gotta do
French.
10 extra steps to get the answer.
But listen, I'm an auntie, and as a member of the tribe, if I sign up for homework duty because the mom of the young person in my tribe needs to go to work or work extra, I'm definitely asking ChatGPT what's 3/5 of 47 or whatever. And it broke down really how to do it. And I was able to teach young Austin how to really take advantage of like fractions. And he caught on in that one lesson.
Well, now they have an app where you can take a picture of the problem and then the app will solve it for you and show how they got
But
the
the
answer.
thing is this, I did not show him how to look it up on ChatGPT. I was looking it up, then longhand writing it and teaching, like using it. I didn't even really I was a little embarrassed. I didn't even really let him know I was using ChatGPT. But on some of them I had to because it's like, I don't remember how to do this shit. I don't use fractions in my everyday life. I work in HR. I need to learn how to conjugate a verb.
Let's not act like kids are not going to use it.
They will.
So either they're taught how to properly use it or they do it on their own and then they get caught cheating because...
I would say, it's kind of like when computers and the internet started to mature.
Right. Because remember, we could just copy paste.
Pop in and
we didn't even have to cite shit.
We're going to have to go through this time of establishing boundaries.
Yes.
The technology at the same time is advancing in a similar way, and it's going to get integrated. It just hurts right now because it's literally year 1, year 2. Like,
it's the Wild West.
It's the Wild West of like opportunity, and even though it can do so much right now, it's going to continue to be integrated. Even in my business, like, people pay us, the firm I'm at, outside of politics, huge strategies where we're a fully digital first communications and engagement firm. People are now paying us just to help create their suite of AI like solutions. So it's coming. It's coming. Education is coming everywhere. I would say, not to make it too boring, but just YouTube it.
Hell
Google,
yeah.
Start with the most basic questions about stuff. Now there's little promo videos. How do I use ChatGPT? You could learn a little 5-minute video on YouTube or on the internet to tell you just the basics and stuff.
AI can create a hell of a lesson plan, okay?
Yes, they can. Listen, okay, work smarter, not harder.
Yes.
I heard you mention hip politics. Tell us a little bit about hip politics. What is that all about?
Hip politics, it's the platform, it's the brand. Hip politics is the next large political movement in this country, and hopefully globally. That's what it is.
Tell us.
But it's built from, it was an idea I actually came up with about 10 years ago when I first lived in LA, working for, I took a break from politics and I moved out here to go work for a couple, an indie hip hop label when one of the artists from DC, Billy Bang, got signed. And
what was it? West Coast Productions?
No.
What was it?
No, it's a now defunct record label, but it was one of those record labels that caught a lick anyways.
Caught a lick?
I mean, like, got a few $1 million and
okay, they came up when they came up and now they're gone.
Yeah.
So
They
it
ca-
might
they
be
have
West
one of-
Coast
I went to Death
Productions.
Row and some
No,
more
it wasn't
stuff.
Death Row. It wasn't.
Don't
We
say that
never
too
we
loud.
never had a
Okay, I'm
song
sorry.
that we had maybe two small charting songs. Like it never really went anywhere. But I did come out here to live out here, and I was coming from working on Capitol Hill.
Mhm.
I've been in Capitol Hill for a few years,
Mm-hmm.
and now I'm here in this like West Coast. He's an East Coast artist, but we're out here on the West Coast recording in the studio, going to the celebrity stuff, shooting
Mhm.
videos, meeting all these different people and stuff. And so you're in studio, you're talking to people. I'm out of, out of my element a little bit.
A little bit.
Cause you know what I mean. He's hardcore rap. Like I'm a
And what are you more like a?
dude. I
Usher,
grew.
what are you? Tell us. What are you more like a?
I think I'm a 4-quadrant intellectual. Like I
What
grew up
kind
in
of
the
rapper is
For
that?
quadrant.
4-quadrant. That's what they call like.
So is that your
Can
rap
appeal to-
name?
No, that you can appeal and you appeal and experience in all 4 major sectors. Like I grew up in definitely in the hood. Grew up in the church though.
Praise him.
But I was in Jack and Jill. I got to go
Wow.
to a
Oh,
private
okay.
high school. I went to very black, and I was very engaged.
Did you
at
go
a-
to a debutante?
We had a debutante
Yeah,
in
I
our
did.
black
Yeah.
program.
Went to a black college,
Yeah.
but worked in restaurants. Worked in regular jobs. Have been homeless for a second as an adult. Like have been jobless multiple times. Had to go to grad school. Turn it around. Also have worked in the White House.
And what did you go
and
to
launched.
grad school for? Oh, wait.
So it's a lot of
Let's-
different things that
grad
have
school,
been
what
able
did
to
you
have
go
Okay,
to?
well,
four
4Q.
quadrants.
That's
4
with a lot
quadrants
of-
should be your rap
Four
name.
quadrant.
That's
Four
your rap
quadrant.
name, okay? Do you
I
have a
understand it all.
backpack?
So that's
You may
where
have a
hip politics came
briefcase.
from. It was the idea that just we can go back to all of that, but I would say to put a finer point, hip politics, in all seriousness, is really trying to give a voice to an entire generation of people that have been disconnected from the power that they have politically. So many did, like having been a person who's been in politics now for almost 20 years, 17, 18 years, at the highest level, White House, Congress, state level campaigns, seeing real 9 figures move, seeing all different people at every level, I realized there is opportunity to change so many things, from the funding, from the laws, from how we're treated, to get things. If we were organized or understood the power you have in the system and understood the system, I realize it's boring. I realize it doesn't deal with my day to day. But if we turned on just a few of those people, I think there's over 94 million rap fans,
Yeah.
and hip politics comes out of hip hop and politics. I was like, if I can get 10% of them turned on to and activated, we could change literally any election in this country. If you had 9 million people you could move around the country, a lot of these just who's winning your city council race might be by a few hundred votes, a few
Yeah.
thousand votes. Those people actually can put money into schools versus police versus potholes versus small community business grants, all types
So,
of
like,
things.
giving voice to
Nice
the
people.
marginalized, and
Who
like
like
knowing,
hip-hop?
letting them know that you do have a voice. Well, like, what does hip hop talk about? Like,
But some of the hip hop is in contradiction to like politics, because politics sometimes they have laws against selling marijuana, and the unfair treatment of Black and brown people who commit the same crimes as
mass
their.
incarceration.
So how
yeah.
would you bridge that gap? Like, and I'm not saying all hip hop fans are, because sometimes I do have on a tinfoil hat like I got on this turban, okay? Listen, I'm a conspiracy, but like some people in hip hop, or some people who tend to listen to hip hop music, or even the CEOs of some of these hip hop labels, they do have brushes with the law. And they may not be the biggest fan of politics due to the unfair treatment of Black and brown people in this country.
I agree. And I think being a politician is kind of like almost like a dirty word, especially in hip hop, because of politics relates to the law, relates to police, relates to a lot of things that oppress
Us.
Black, brown,
Marginalized
marginalized
people.
community,
Yeah.
people in general. But I would flip that on its head in the sense that just politics is one of those things. Like if you don't do politics, politics will do you. Like
And they are doing us really well right now.
Right now, as we can see.
I'm getting done up.
So that idea that that idea that there can't be parts of it, just like if we were like in the Black community, everybody isn't pulling all in this, and like we're not a monolithic and
No,
we
we
all
are not.
agree with this,
Mm-hmm.
but there are things that universally can help us that we can recognize as Black people, even if I don't agree how it's happened or it's a thing I don't want to engage in. Political power is a must.
Mm-hmm.
Like hard stop into conversation.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to have the people in place to write the laws, to enforce the laws,
Mm-hmm.
to appropriately fund the government is still the biggest funder in the country. There's
Yes, they
trillions
are.
of dollars come out that trickle down to everything that we need done. There's a reason why these taxes are taken out. And we always say like, oh, somebody needs to take care of some of the basic things that we need in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not, and it's healthy for us to disagree about who and what, and maybe I think this versus that. That is a nature of compromise.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to mobilize that power, to really move your money, move your people, and move your votes.
Mm-hmm.
Because like if you can move money around, you can pay for advertising, you can pay for
Okay.
space,
True
you
that.
can pay
I
for
have a
things.
question.
If you can move people, if you can move people, you can get votes, you can show up, and if you can move votes, you can get who you want in place. Hip hop has an opportunity if just 10 million more hip hop fans decided to vote, show up at things, be civically engaged.
And not write Young Thug in as who they want the president to be.
Oh dear.
I
We
think
have to educate voters.
You have part of it is education.
need
I'm
to
not trying to
educate
do it
these
all in one
people.
day.
No,
but
I
we
know.
are. I think I'd rather you understand that what a write-in is and write in
Right.
Young Thug than not be engaged in the process
I
at all. So
agree.
you can write in Young Thug because at least you understand the power of the write-in. That means I'm coming in to vote. Maybe the Young Thug thing is a loss, but on
At
other
least you
at
know
least you're
that you
there
can write
voting and
in.
you're voting on other important positions and you understand that. So to me that is a win rather than choosing the couch or choosing like not to vote at all.
Okay. What were you gonna say, Cole? You had a question. You forgot?
Oh, so in a
And I'm sorry, I
time.
didn't mean to do the
It's
No,
okay.
this is a
Get your thought.
conversation.
It was
Get
just
your wiggle
me
on.
like out loud thinking like, okay, so we are in a time where like media is being censored, and so how does this hip hop like how do they get their voice out there when if you speak against a certain thing, you have potential to be blackballed or an investigation is being a witch hunt of sort. I don't even want to use that. That's not politically correct because witches were good.
Witches
And
were
they were-
good.
and they were- I'm sorry.
Witches
I'm
were
sorry.
good.
I
I'm a
try to
witch.
be.
I'm a witch. They are great.
I love a brouhaha, situation. So I don't even want to use that term. That is just like Indian giving. Indian giving, that is not no. We don't use that term because things were taken away from the indigenous. Okay, now you know how it spiral, but I'm saying
Witches are good. So are indigenous people.
yes.
So I think she was saying
Shalom.
Mazel Tov, and all that good
Peace
shit.
and love. Anyway, I was saying, in a time where everything, you got to
Censored?
be careful what you say because if you speak against, a certain side, then, it's a spiral of, what I'm saying? Like, let's, like Joy Reid. I love her.
How did we get on
she
her?
got taken down. I'm sorry. But, like, she's an example of
retaliation if you are true.
Reorganization at a corporate level.
yes.
Of what they're
But a reorg.
And when you talk about hip hop, already, it's that community that is made to feel like, and the media presents like, you're negative and you don't know what you're talking about. Like, so how, it's okay. Yeah. Pour it up.
Tell me how ain't nothing but a heart.
Hey, you just went real
Tell me how ain't nothing
I went
but
pour it up.
a
I don't know what happened there.
Tell me. Oh, and I think they say tell me why and not tell me how.
Tell me how.
There you go.
You giving too much of a shout out. But anyways, to the question, I hear you. Is it more about we're in an environment, especially given the Trump of it all and this new sharp right turn of like taking away terms, scrubbing out of the government. Anybody who's doing with diversity, equity, inclusion. I don't think DEI almost cheapens what it is. Diversity. Who's against diversity?
Right.
Of thought, diversity of leadership. You diversify your funds. If you want to make money, like you need diversity. Equity, like equality. Are we not? I thought that's what we were trying to make.
We are moving
equal
backwards,
opportunity.
yes.
Inclusion. Who wants to be cut out? Like, so these, but that concept, as it's been, we know it's kind of a ghost word for black, other
Trans,
things I don't
anything.
like. Yes. That DEI like label and how that's been weaponized, which is a political move that works often. Like there's so many different words that now have political weight and it makes you think of one thing or the other that have been like, that's the nature of marketing. I think it is, let's talk about the essence of what that is, but that shift away from it and with Trump, at least through words and maybe some action, but I think it's a lot of words right now.
Definitely
Words
action.
no, I was going to say in terms of that retaliatory, how hip hop, where they're thinking some of the companies they work for have said they're getting away from DEI or certain things like even scrubbing out certain content. All those things, yes, that's all that we might have to deal with. I would say this is that artists, specifically in hip hop culture, has never been historically in this period has never been stronger, more profitable, more powerful, and more global than at any time in its 50 now 2-year history, 50-year anniversary a little while ago.
But if people are cheating in elections, like what we's gonna do?
Now her tin hat is on. Now her foil.
I mean, even when the cheating is there, it's almost having to root it out. There's find ways to get that. I think that's where, when I say hip hop and the reason why hip politics exists and the reason why we're constantly trying to collaborate, trying to educate, educate, even us, we oftentimes we serve in a advisory or connecting fashion where
correct.
You do this thing really well. This artist over here does this thing really well. How can just our relationships merge the two? Be able, because politics, having worked in politics at every level, but also having worked in music and our partners work there, they speak different languages, they move at different speeds, but they're equally as needed because now every artist has a charity. That interacts with the government, the IRS, and the different things that you...
If they still exist.
Yes, exactly. But
We
I say
always
that,
have
but
to
the
pay
grants
taxes.
and opportunities, there's some government thing and something political, you care about something in your community and stuff, working with your local government and finding ways to be able to get funds, resources, opportunities, whether it's business or charitable.
Right.
Every artist has a platform from the biggest to the smallest.
But I think, I
so
support
they have an
this
opportunity.
100%. I actually think that this could be a great movement to start maybe a 3-party system in the U.S. Because I think,
at least 3 parties.
At least. I mean, every other developed country
has multiple parties.
Yeah, and I could just be pulling this out of
We're in
some...
the ghetto.
But we have a really dominant 2-party system, and yes, America is different. And I'm going to be very honest, I took a break from all of that because after the loss of the election, I really just okay.
We were at the spa, child, for inauguration day.
Yeah, we had to. We prepared.
You turned the TV off?
There was no TVs. We were getting
TV at the spa,
scrubbed
yes.
because it's just and even now it's I'm not as engaged because I need a break. America
I am
really
Kamala. Kamala be in the kitchen chefing. Right, she be spending time with her family.
I'm going to keep my black ass in my blue bubble of Southern California and not Orange County. LA County. I'm going to stay right here. I'm going to go ahead and pay these crazy rates. But I feel very... I don't know.
I love you. I love this fight.
But I feel very safe there.
I'm glad I got in early. This joint only it's gonna be one of these.
And thank you. We appreciate your patience. But I just say all that to say. I'm a hood bitch too. No, I'm joking. I just say all that to say, like, a lot of the 92%, which I'm a part of, we're just like, listen,
I
this your
love that. Claim
man.
that 92% that was like,
Yes.
hey, we voted.
Yeah.
And
that
the
we needed to-
78, you know, I claim them too. Black brother, strong brother. I love you.
But even that,
Oh,
look,
rest in
shout out
peace,
to
Angie Stone.
Angie Stone.
Oh, we think
That,
alike.
that is her song.
I'm
That's
sorry.
her biggest one. I
Right,
love
but
it.
I'm just saying, I want to give my props to the
Can I-
black
can I
men who
make a-
showed up
can I
too.
make a quick
You
point
can do
out to
whatever
that?
you like T.I.
Don't tell
Hip
me
hop,
that.
hip politics.
Whatever
tell
you
me
like.
T.I. would be a good member of part of that. He be using them big words and everything that don't mean nothing. So join him up. T.I.
Now, why you have to come for T.I. like that?
Oh no, T.I. catching strays. Sorry. What did you want to say? Are you pontificating on what you would like to say?
Or
No, that just
expungicating.
threw me for a loop.
Expungicating is farting,
I
right?
know, but I
Expungicating
just
is
wanted
like-
to get a big word in there.
What is the
Expungicating.
conundrum here?
What is the conundrum? You and your T.I. sweat. I would say this is that it is a unique opportunity to do hip politics a different way, and I think I've come to this, and even being in this space, like I said, this was an idea that I moved back from California, from DC, with the name hip politics as a name. I threw it on a T-shirt. A year later, trademarked it. 2 years later, turned it into a podcast. Then turned it into a party series. Turned it into an award show.
You
Turned it
better
into
give
a
us
bigger
our blueprint for
podcast.
Dope Ass Aunties
Turned
podcast.
it into
Bitch, we need
turned
to
it
put
into
it.
apparel.
We need sweatshirts in
Turned
here.
into apparel. Turned it into more. Turned it into influencers, and we haven't even gone national yet. Like I think it was more so if you know anybody in politics dealing in the presidential Congress or around. I've been rocking hip politics gear for like 4 years, before, like 2 years
Did you
before I
wear it
even
in
put
the White House?
No,
Did you wear it in the
legally
White
Hatch
House?
Act. I follow the Hatch Act, so you're not allowed to. Unlike Trump,
they have a
who's
dress
doing
code.
no, it's not dress code. You're not allowed to profit off of anything that you're doing in the White House. But apparently,
Ain't that some shit? Cause
yes, no, I'm
okay,
gonna say,
I was
but
about
then
to spiral.
that's
Sorry.
that's what
Okay.
Trump and
Keep
Trump
going.
and Elon are
Spiral.
doing.
Spiral.
Or like that is a blatant, like there's a whole law
Against
about
that.
not enriching yourself, utilizing
He just
the White
had
House.
a Tesla car show.
He had a whole
not too
Tesla
long ago.
car show.
Okay.
Yes. So it's clearly it's kind of rogue times. But I would say this is that I was a person who second career was politics. So I came in my late 20s and was able to like grow and just be blessed to work with great people, work for great people, great teams. But I was always one of those things when you get into another level, another room, another level of a meeting. Like one time I'm on a Zoom, it's like, yo, there's 4 billionaires on this Zoom. And I'm sitting in my little office in my house in COVID, and I'm just like, what's my life right now? Like,
Right.
because I'm presenting
me.
it, pitch, yes. But that type of stuff, but I don't like, you're in awe for a second, but you like realize, oh, there's other things you can do. Or this is now, you have new resources, new collaborators, new
Opening
opportunities,
doors, yeah.
new understanding. And I think that there needs to be more of a light shine to all these different levels and opportunities in politics, because it's a huge industry, multi-billion-dollar industry.
Right. But speaking of other opportunities in politics, let's just say hip politics, we decided to start our own party system. What would be the name of it? The Hip Politicans? The Hip
Not Politicans.
Like Tickians? The Hip Politicans. What would be the name of our three-party system? So
If it was hip-hop based on some
yes,
hip-hop
it was
stuff?
based on hip politics. You grew the community. You grew the party.
Hip
What-
Nation.
Hip Nations? Because there's
Well, Hip Nation's the name
Republicans
of my-
and
Hip Nation,
Democrats.
shout out to Hip Nation.
So
Hip Nation is
hip
our
politicers?
non-profit. I don't know.
Hip politicers? No, you need to come up with it right now, because we all about manifesting here at Dope Ass Aunties.
Hip hopicans.
The
I don't
hip
know.
The
hop-
hip
Hooligans.
hop. You want to say hooligans? You trying to say we hooligans?
No, like the backyardigans.
Yes, the backyardigans. That is why I was
The
like
hip
Uniqua in them.
Uniqua in them. Oh, Uniqua was a backyardigans. Okay, so what would be us? You said the hip politicans. The what?
Hip Hop-again.
The hip-hop-
Hip-hopagans.
the hip-hop-
Hip-hopagans?
In Politics Nation.
But like, what would be our ends? Because it's Republicans
That's too.
Oh,
and
that's
Democrats. So what would be the Hippocrats?
No.
The Hippolyters?
I would say like peoplecrats or something. I don't know.
The Hippocrates. No,
No,
well,
it's not about
okay.
hypocrites.
It's a work in progress.
It's a work in
No, but
progress.
I
It is a work
know.
in
Okay.
progress.
So our third party are dope ass aunties and uncles.
Okay. What would be
and
the
nieces
name?
and nephews.
Nephews.
We need the whole crew,
I
the
think-
whole family.
I think it would be called
The
the
People's
Dope
Party.
Ass Political Party.
Yes, the dope ass political party.
The Dope Ass
You can
Political
start
Dope-ass
a
Party.
political
party.
party.
You could go build that. You've heard of the Green Party?
Yes, I
Mhm.
have.
The Green Party is a thing, and they've tried and the Libertarian Party.
Mhm.
Has the Green Party moved to the Independent Party?
Too
I
many
actually don't
parties.
know all their politics, so
Oh,
I don't
okay.
want to. I don't
Yeah.
want to sit up here and lie.
I don't
give
And
you
we
facts
support that.
and disinfo.
Yeah.
Listen, we
They've
support
been doing
this.
something, but there are independent parties. It's just the growth to be able to have enough infrastructure, enough funding, enough money. Like it's a difficult thing. Like I
Mhm.
would say our two-party system, the way it started, because it didn't even start as a two-party system. It evolved into that. 'Cause
I know.
We used to have the Whigs Party, the
We
Federalist
did.
Party. Like there were other party systems, so
And
it's not a
then
law.
The Democrats
It's
were the
not a
racists,
law you have to
and the
have only two
Republicans were the
parties.
good ones.
Because there are actually more than two parties. It's just
Mhm.
for them to gain prominence and relevance
Mhm.
in the system is complex and hard. But I will say you can have parties. The way we've got around that, as opposed to having two parties, because so many more people can be independent and say, "Hey, I'm a Democrat." I'll say technically I'm a Democrat too.
Technically, you better not be untechnically a Republican.
No, I'm more independent. Like there are independent candidates I would vote for. I'd be lying if I would say there aren't some Republican candidates here and there that I've voted for because I understood. I might have known them as people, usually on a much local level. And it's like, oh, you as a person, I understand. You're not a. Yes, I don't agree with your
So I
party, but
get
I
that
agree
it's
with you and what
good
you're gonna
that-
do.
Not every Black person should be a Democrat.
Because we are not a monolith.
We need people in different parties to still have a voice, a
And
seat
party
at the
and
table,
power.
all of that. But my worry is sometimes, people like to sell dreams to get you, like this current administration selling dreams to get the farmer population, the people that own farms, like try to get them, like they sell dreams to get you.
They do. That's part of the game.
That's called politics.
Yeah.
Because they just. So I would say this is that, we can have a Black party, and I think there's efforts right now to continue to get Black power consolidated, get Hispanic power consolidated, get tri-caucus when we say like Asian, AAPI, Hispanic and Black
Mhm.
coming together and get our combined different power.
Yes.
There are already groups. That's kind of the way our system is set up. Is that
Because
there are
the
groups
civil
and
rights movement
organizations.
was successful because it was people of color joining together as one.
Yeah, like
But they
I'd
don't-
much rather have a political party of like-minded people
Mhm.
instead of just Black. This is the Black party. No, I'd rather this is the party that believes that women should have autonomy
Well, that's
over their
the thing.
bodies.
So then that's where I
and
think
it don't matter what color
Within
you
the
are.
civil
You should
rights
want
movement,
that.
there was the Black movement, then came the Chicano movement, then came the Asian
So
American
civil
movement,
rights was
then
the
came
umbrella. and all
American
these other
Indian
movements
movement.
was being shielded.
I think there's ways there are political groups, which I think are kind of our new political parties versus who's on the ballot, because who's on the ballot is still dictated by the people. So do you think Democrats as a whole, the party structure has a whole thing it needs to do to sell its brand, but individual candidates, if I'm the women, say I'm a Black women's party,
Mhm.
or I'm an organization, you can consolidate your power and, hey, we can raise this amount of money. We can have this many tens of thousands of Black women who vote and who are active in their community, willing to sign on to a letter, willing to move and endorse a candidate, move. Like, that's how stuff moves now. Like, you can consolidate your power without having to put up this new party's candidate every time. You can determine what Republican or what Democrat makes it to each level in there, as opposed to I need to field a candidate in every race. Like
Mm-hmm.
we have opportunities
So
to
you
have
still
that.
have faith in our system, our democratic system in this country.
I have faith. I have faith that it's a system that can work for us, and that's why I'm doing the work when I do, and it doesn't feel futile. It actually feels like like I said, a growing impact opportunity. And I think we're at the cusp of the financial opportunity of what it is, because it's not making money off of like politics as much
Mm-hmm.
as politics controls the entire ecosystem of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Who's in power, who makes what laws, what regulations are there, what
Mhm.
opportunities are there, what are things that the government doesn't have to make money every year. That's not a business, it's not a for-profit business.
Well,
So they can,
Oh, they
well,
they're
operate
trying
like
to
they
operate it
are.
like one,
we
but
live in
it
a
ultimately isn't. We have to
a capitalistic
that's
society.
the society. Our government, which we pay into, is meant to serve us as a individual, as a whole, as a people, and allow for our individual freedoms to be exercised.
Well, how
That
do we
is what
get
our
there
government is
again?
supposed. Like I have faith in people. I think the system definitely needs a lot of change, but I'm also, I don't like using the term pragmatic, because I like to dream outside of the lines, and like, why can't we just do something this way? I think that's how I came into politics. It wasn't what I was trained to do. It was a job I was thrown into with a whole different set of perspective. And so every level I've been at, I've walked in wide-eyed, asked a lot of questions, looked at who was successful in that arena or in that place, talked to them, created relationships to learn more as I've, you know what I mean? Like I said, I went from intern to, you see my screensavers with the president and everything back and forth in between of that. So
Which president you got to
Biden.
Okay. Okay.
Biden most recently, in places all along the way. But I say that to say that like the system is, we need so much change in it, but the system just as is now, we're not even utilizing or maximizing what we could be doing with it now.
Why do you think that is?
Because it's designed to keep you ignorant. It's complicated. It takes time. Just like anything, to be great at it is complex. There's no great company, nobody making a bunch of money that
I have a
is not
question.
doing something at the top. So it is a harder system. What's
So
your question?
you know, people think that as a felon you can't vote, but the more I'm learning, it's like,
That's a state to state thing. So
okay,
there are states that still try to take, depending on the class of your felony or class of your conviction and so forth, to take away the right. And then there's other states you can vote from being in jail.
Mm.
Like
oh
it is a
wow.
state to state opportunity. I do think I personally believe that you should never lose your right to vote. It kind of
Never.
dehumanizes you in a
Right.
democracy
Just because you sold a nickel sack back in
for whatever the
1987.
reason is. That is a thing I would
But
defend.
do within those states that allow prisoners to vote, do those prisons, are they open about?
Hell no.
No, I think that's you're highlighting one of the many things that the reason why you've ever heard this thing. If your right to vote wasn't so important, they wouldn't be working so hard to take it away.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That fundamental thing of initial participation of voting, showing up for the census, like I live here and counting yourself, the way, like I said, not taking advantage of the way the system even is right now. When we don't show up to vote and we don't like partake in the census every year and announce, when lines are drawn to say who lives where, how many people live here, those are big ass calculations that are done that
I didn't even know the census is annually.
No,
every 10 years. But I'm saying
Every-
those types of things of
And
civic.
why is it a lot can happen in a decade?
No, I mean it's a huge undertaking
sorry.
that takes multiple years to execute, to count
I was
everybody
a
in
numerator
America.
before.
Yeah,
Shout out to the
count everybody
numerators.
in America. But even those things, that's how representation is drawn up. That's how budgets are drawn up, to like how much money your schools receive, how much money your local resources receive, how much money your states received. That also recognizes, like, when you don't vote, I'm like, oh, they don't count you as participating. So the things you may care about, it's like, oh, the people in office are not as inclined to listen to people who don't participate and don't get them to office anyway. You're just a noisy person on Twitter versus the real voters or people who, when the numbers come out, I need one more vote than the next person.
So what I want to do is encourage all the aunties and uncles at home, when your nieces or nephews turn 18, register them to vote. Pretty please.
Well, I take my son to vote. Like,
No. But what I'm saying is my mom has a
We
ritual.
going to vote.
Whenever her grandchildren turn 18, my nephew just turned 18 and she was on him. She was like, here's your registration card. I filled it out. I need you to do. So I think that should just be a ritual amongst the aunties and the dope ass uncles, like on their 18th birthday. Give them a registration card along with whatever else, the Jordans and the whatever else.
And make it a big thing, like
deal.
a birthday, like
take them to Ruth Chris afterwards.
Celebrate that, like
or
because
whatever,
there's power
Cheesecake
in
Factory,
voting. Yes.
Whatever, like make it a ritual into adulthood, so they understand their civic and civil responsibility. Make it okay to serve on jury duty.
Oh,
make
no.
it okay.
So you going
I got a story. Yeah,
but
you
I
went
will
too
say this. I
far.
will
Too
say
far.
this. I will say this.
Too far triggered.
No, but I
Triggered.
will say this. Like, when you say, do I have faith in the system? I do not have faith that a system that was built and designed when we as black people were 3/5 if
We were
or
probably-
negative of a
we were
man.
not considered a whole human for sure.
Was the science of it well constructed enough that it's a great starting point, even as that has evolved? Hence the reason why we have the Bill of Rights and we have amendments and we have state laws and clarification. I do not think it's a perfect system. What I am of the mindset is, as people smarter than me, who are policy people who understand this civics and economics and all these things, and sociologists that can build a plan for the future of like, what's the new system like? I don't know that. But what I do know is I've worked this system and we're not maximizing it. We're barely scratching 5% of the surface of the political power we have if not a single law changed. There are things we can do to educate ourselves as black people, as Latino people, as young people, any group you want to call, you just as hip hop. And that's why it's like hip hop is kind of has changed my life in so many ways. And the reason why it got rooted in there. And now it's, like I said, it's at its core is still hip hop, but that hip hop means hip, the new way to do politics. There's an entire ecosystem of like, hip hop is a through line where hip hop it started as the CNN of the black community, but now it is multi-ethnic.
Let me tell you, I saw that in the Super Bowl halftime, performance.
Yeah,
Kendrick Lamar, it was very political. And like personally at my school, kids did presentations on it and they saw and they got their own take on what, the performance and what it was and what they wore and, the songs he performed and what he said and Samuel L. Jackson and his role and, so yes, definitely when it comes to certain artists, I see that hip hop and politics and how they like intersect and the message and what it means to the generation, the youth now. Yes.
And for me too, I feel like rooted in hip hop is protest, right? If you get disruption, protest, fight the powers that be. Like, I am an elder millennial, so
you said that.
But even now, even
but
if
like
it's
I
not,
remember like fight the power. I remember all that stuff. I remember even like
Public
NWA, Public
Enemy.
Enemy, Run DMC, like even Walk This Way, Talk This Way, it was still some sort of protest going on, and they beautifully bridged the gaps between a lot of things that our white counterparts may be experiencing from a class perspective. I'm not talking about race, I'm talking about class.
Yes.
Are the same things that
class is a big component.
Class is a big component.
In this country, yeah.
Right.
For sure.
So to me, it makes sense because hip hop to me was like one of the origins of like protest art. Right. So now it's become this big thing where we have mumble rappers, and I swear I think I'm singing the words, but hell, I don't know. Sometimes when my little nephew come, I just hand him my phone and I be like, make me hip.
I always put the lyrics on whatever. Like I need to know.
I still listen to new rap.
I bet you do.
Well, I think I'm hip, but
I think I hip too.
Like I just learned clock it, and find shit and clock it. Like yeah. I'm sorry. I try to be hip. Clock it. That means
catch the shit, catch it, or
you just like spit some real shit.
But you work with the youth. Me, I'm removed from the youth, so every time I get around the youth, I'm like, okay, here's my phone, here's my just log into Apple and tell me put all the new ones on there, right? So I say all that to say, and we go on tangents. That's why I love it. To me, hip-hop has always been a protest art, so it makes sense, and it beautifully aligns if we can get back to those protest origins. Because I see a lot of hip-hop artists cooning for Trump. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, no.
I would argue
got the
that,
Kodak
I think
Blacks and the Nellies and the...
Kodak Black has always been lost.
No, I know that, but he is still a part of the hip-hop community. Are we not? Like, I feel the hip-hop community is no longer... And some elements are still protests. Thank you, Kendrick Lamar. Shout out to Compton.
Shout out.
There are a lot of elements that are about like just shit that aligns with me trying to assimilate into white culture. Mm-hmm. And I'm up here performing for these Trump checks.
Losing self,
Soulja Boy,
who you are.
A selloutness.
The ancestors would be disappointed.
No, they would have shot them. Mm-hmm. They would have shot them. Harriet Tubman would have shot them. Yeah. So I say all that to say, allegedly, don't sue us, allegedly. And I'm not putting out any death threats. But what I am
about Harriet Tubman.
No. About some of these hip hop artists that Harriet Tubman would have shot. I don't mean Naya. Harriet Tubman, she dead. Rest in peace.
I can't breathe.
So I say all that to say, how do you combat? Because hip hop is also not a monolith. So how do you combat the coonery in hip hop with the protest of hip hop, the political stance of hip hop?
I take that in a couple ways, because one,
there's a lot of coonery in hip hop.
It is, and I'm not here to pass judgment on them being can be authentically in the culture, but represent a thing that exists.
I'm judging.
I'm of the generation where it's like, Mac, you ain't got to say too much from the look of your eyes. Webby, give me that. Is, you know what I mean, is damn near aggressive.
Wait. Give me them votes.
Here, hold on.
Let
me make my point. The point is, the coonery of the inappropriateness of the things I'm not agreeing with have always existed at every level of hip hop. All of the things that are that. I'm not, it's not that. That's the beauty of it, is that it's such a broad genre of not anymore just, while it started as music, it is a culture. And it is a broad and inclusive tint of a culture that includes all types of topics. Mm-hmm. While it's rooted in Black struggle, in Black communities, it is now global. There are white folks. There are like Latino. One of my favorite new rappers is Mexican. Is that Mexican OT? They're part of that culture.
Well, I don't have a problem with that. But the white community feeling like they have an in to
hip hop culture, but
they know nothing about it. They only know what they hear and what they see in like music videos, and then they feel like I'm sorry, I'm spiraling. Never mind. Go on.
I would say this is that just like with other cultures, there are people who are born bred in the deepest root of a culture. Hey, I'm 100% this. I've been born this. I can go back 4 generations, and all my parents have been this same culture, this same ethnicity, the same thing. It's broad enough now that there are people who are half a generation. Hey, instead of I'm 100% Black. Hey, I'm only half Black on my mother's side, but I'm a little piece of it. That's a person who observes a little bit of hip hop. Do they get to make all the core decisions about that family? If they're that half cousin over there, no, but they still can be connected to it and have some level of understanding. Right. I look at hip hop as the same way. There's a lot of people there are people who are trying to take the essence, get the culture vultures out, but there are people who just appreciate it from afar, appreciate a song, appreciate a person, have their favorite artist. It is now ingrained. It's no longer pop culture. It just is culture. And
The
it
rhythm,
is
but not the blues type of.
No, I
no.
think it's some people who, and most people who have a reverence for hip hop, who may not be black or Latino or whatever, they give credit. The ones who have the reverence for it, like they're not here to try to culture vulture. They're here to say, yes, like, do you like, just look at some of the white people who break down like just anything Kendrick Lamar does. Like they always give a reverence. They always like, listen, this is just my observation as a white person in America. I know I do not align with the black. Like they give a great disclaimer. The ones who have good intentions.
But then they still have
We
good
know
insight.
about disclaimers, don't
Like
we?
they have great insight. So to that point,
Right. So we need them,
so
I
hip-hop,
think,
the
to make
point,
it more
the point to make is
well-rounded.
that hip hop. When you said, "How do I fight the coonery?" or how do you balance with people who may not be aligned with our politics? Something we say on all our pages and so forth. We're not right or left. We're not Democrat or Republican. Our party is hip hop. There are cultural ties and issues. There is that level of disruption, that level of bravado and confidence, that level of ingenuity, that to figure things out, that level of honesty that comes from that level of like storytelling that comes. I don't even want to call it dishonest. It's like we're storytellers. Everything doesn't have to be the thing I see right here. I can visualize and paint you pictures and whether that's in all levels of the art, not even just the rapping, but when you start talking about the DJs, when you start talking about graffiti artists, dance, there's so many different things that hip hop as a culture. So there's the arts. There's the opportunity to make business. So small business owners connect to hip hop. There's the opportunity for education and all the different things that it's built on.
Okay, yes.
So all those
for
things
sure.
matter to hip hop.
Because DJ Artistic, are you familiar with DJ
Yeah.
Artistic? So
Shout out to DJ Artistic.
Shout out to DJ Artistic because
He's a great friend of
this
mine.
is
He went to an
our-
HBCU
This
too.
is yes, he went to FAMU.
Woo-woo, Rattlers.
For the second time, he came to my school and he did a history of hip hop presentation. And look, let me tell you, the adults in the room are definitely vibing and doing all the dance. And but he said something to me that like really spoke to me. He was like, "If I don't do it, who else will?" Because a lot of the kids are not well versed in like he starts with the 70s and then he works his way up, and a lot of kids are not well versed in where the songs they listen to now came from, and like
Yeah.
and he literally was like, if I don't do it, who else will? And I appreciated that. Like, you know, he's made it a mission to teach them like what hip hop started and why it started, and like the, you know, over time where it's gone and where it's going and what it is and what it ain't. And I appreciate that. So
I appreciate that too. Shout out to him.
With that said, it's like the tent is big. Hip hop is a big thing. And I don't have to like all of it. I don't have to agree with it. I don't have to understand all of it. But it's a big tent. And at its core, because it is a big, broad tent that has now influenced multiple generations of people and is global, there's more money behind it, more listeners, more from casual to the hardest core of fans. And now those fans are I mean, Dr. Dre's of the world, Reverend Run of Run DMC are in their 60s. Lil TJ or Jello Ball.
Who is Little TJ
Yeah,
and
I'm like-
Jello
I'm
Ball?
not-
So
You
that's what I'm
lost
saying.
me.
But I'm saying these are
Aw.
major artists. Playboy Cardi, who just dropped recently, like all these different
I
people
think I
who
know
are in
him a
their
little bit.
teens and early 20s. That breadth and depth, like Ian, this new little white boy who looks like just like a regular white, like a white suburban kid, it got the industry on fire right
is
now.
he the
with
new
his rapping.
Eminem?
No,
Vanilla Ice.
he's literally wearing a regular ass t-shirt. He got a song with Chief Keef. I'm just saying
I
all
love
this.
Chief Keef from the Bay. I love him. Hey, Chief Keef. I hope you're listening.
So as dope ass aunties, I say this to say is that encouragement of like the broader the tent of hip hop and what that actually means is still there's a through line of culture in there that allows us to, if people tapped into that culture and we were able to move segments of of the culture, if not all the culture, we have the power in politics to get things that we want, to get the people we want to get elected, to get the laws we want to get changed or at least upheld, to get the funds and direct those things. The power is still in the system at its core. And notice I'm coming back to the question. I have faith that we have more we can do in this system while people smarter than me, while we provide a way for people to change the system as we operate at a higher level in the system we have, while we are changing, breaking it, improving it so it can be built better. But I don't believe in this in-between time where we got a system where it's like, all right, well, fuck the system. It's not working for us, so I'm not going to do it. No. And I'm just disengaged. It's like, no, fuck that.
But isn't that
Let's
part of
get something
the
out of
strategy currently, like, to get us to feel like
we're disengaged?
Yeah.
That's the whole point
Yeah.
of Trump, is like, wear you down, make you tired, take a break. You don't really know what's happening. You're less, think about it, you're less educated. I'm taking civics out of the schools. I'm raising a whole generation who won't even really know what slavery was.
I'm
maybe
banning
till
books.
college. I'm banning books. I'm banning words.
Say it with your chest, girl.
I'm trying to find a way. So you're crippling the younger generation. You're making it hard for the current generation and older people. Once you know, the older you get, the more you don't give a fuck about a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, because you're on your
be
way
regular.
out.
So-
The sun is
so
about
all
to
these
set.
give
different
me my
things.
Social
It's part of
Security
that.
every month and I'm good.
And take me to the casino.
Exactly.
Okay.
But we can no longer afford, in this day of the internet, this day of digital, the day of like dwindling resources, all these things, but the day of so much more creativity, so many more tools. We're living longer, so many more opportunities for longer life. We can no longer afford to just be passive and let the world happen to us and we react. At least not some portion of us, and at least all of us be more active in the system and the society that we're in, more than just like working and paying and so
Well,
forth.
I
Like
appreciate that.
for it to get better, that
We gotta
civic
get
engagement,
involved.
and it does not mean every city council meeting for every single person, but the
Yeah.
idea of to understand who, what you're voting for, how things work, affecting our other votes, like who you have influence on other people, your friends, family, and so forth. That matters, that different people are talking and we're more civically engaged, even amongst at a local level.
I love that.
So that is that point we need to get to.
I agree. And I think we'll get there.
I hope so.
But I want to pivot a little bit. Are you an uncle?
Yes.
Tell us more.
I'm an uncle to a lovely, lovely young lady. My moo-moo.
Moo.
Corinne.
How old is she?
Candace Wake. She is my sister's only child, my younger sister, who went to the other HU. We have a split family. I'm a Howard University. My sister after me went to Hampton, then my brother
Why
after
does
me
there
went to
even have
Howard.
to be a divide? Like, you know,
She has a very different
It's a
personality
HU
than me.
thing.
I kind of
It's
did
a
my thing
HU
at Howard.
thing. It's a HU
Did I do my
thing.
thing at Howard?
You definitely did
you
your
know,
thing.
I went
so
to
she didn't wanna
Southern.
come
I don't
behind
do
that.
that
She
with
wanted to live
Grambling, even
something
though
different.
Southern and Grambling are at odds. Like, I don't do that. Like, let's just like, why does it have to be?
Kumbaya,
It isn't.
my
Yes.
Lord.
Kumbaya.
HIU. So listen, okay,
Anyways.
so you're an uncle.
I'm an uncle.
Okay.
Corinne.
Do you
Shout
have
out Corinne.
any uncle advice you want to give?
Be thankful.
Okay.
If you're an
Amen.
uncle, this is what I realized. Without children, I don't have children of my own. I'm
Neither
not a
do
father
I.
yet.
I do.
God willing, soon.
You want kids?
Heck yeah, I want
Are we
kids.
sure?
Ooh.
I'm doing well in life finally, so it's like now that I can understand how to pay for it.
No, yes.
Like before,
It
I
ain't
didn't
all
know this.
that. Money ain't the.
I know it's
money
money,
is
but now I
not
have
the-
money and I
But
can
that's a
create more
great
time.
luxury you
I can
have.
create more time, and I have a little bit more money, and I think it'll be better. And also, I get it. I've seen enough people have children to like. I want in on that.
You
I
want
think it's
that.
the outside.
Sign me up.
The outside influences are the ones that really like are the worry. You know, like yes, ready to be a parent, ready to do all the things, like cater to your seed emotionally, physically,
Seed.
spiritually.
Sorry, that made me.
I want the right.
Cater to
a
your
great
seed.
partner, having a great partner, in the right.
It's just when they start
Opportunity.
going to school and they start getting influenced by these other.
So
You're just
She's
we're going
true.
off. Those are all the beauties of having a child.
Okay,
Like,
so
I'll
what's some
evolve.
uncle advice
So
you
I'm
would
an
give? Since
uncle
you're
advice,
not a
I would
daddy,
say.
you can't give
The
daddy
uncle
advice.
advice is be supportive of the parents.
Okay.
Whoever you're the uncle, your brother, sister, your second cousin, whatever you're doing, if you're coming in as an uncle or even just a friend,
As a member of the tribe.
the number reason why you're there is not, I mean, the child is great. You're the uncle. I'm the uncle because of my parents. So I'm always like Candace, Herman, her husband. What can I do to be helpful? Because my relationship with them is still first. And I recognize like they're doing a lot. So it's like always, if I can be helpful, and how does that translate? Do I need to buy something? Do I need to go do something? Do you need me to watch
You'll
something?
take them to the dance class or the
Or things that if
soccer
I can
game.
be. So
Or
that is
you'll
my one thing.
participate.
All uncles participate with the adults because kids don't know what they need. The parents do. The mother, the father, whoever.
Yes.
They sure don't know.
So
They know
that's-
what they want though, but they don't know what they need.
That's my number one advice is help with the parents first and like be serious. Your time being an uncle may not even be with the kids right away because they need you to go do some other things they couldn't get done because they needed to do that.
Yes.
And so let me go be actually helpful, not like demonstratively helpful. Like, hey, I'm in the kid's face. Like, the real work is when I'm not around. I recognize that early. It's like I'm dipping in and out. Candace doing with Corinne every single day, 24/7. She don't get to turn this off. I can. You know what, Candace? I need to leave early, and I just I can do that.
Exit stage left. Yeah.
Yes,
That's one of the beautiful
That's not my
joys of
child.
being the
I
auntie.
trust you. You my sister. We were raised right.
Right.
I trust you. But
Right.
I can leave.
That is the beautiful
Yes, and
part
that's
of
the
being
part.
an auntie and an uncle.
I just be like, what's your Zelle or Cash App? But I gotta
That's
go.
what I definitely saw. I try to solve a lot of stuff with money. I'm like, and I recognize that, but that's helpful when it can be. But I realize it's not everything. But
It's not.
I definitely.
I will. That is very helpful.
But part of what
You
I'm
sound like a winning uncle to me.
What do you mean?
Okay.
Not a winning
What you
uncle.
Because like you will.
I'm on the money thing.
What financial?
I want to do so much more. I want to be present, but I've so many things that I've read and seen and I've adapted to. Is like I've definitely sacrificed time with family, friends, life, even health. Like I definitely believe like the switch I came to, like I said, to drop out of medical school to go into marketing.
Oh, no,
which
we
led
didn't
to
talk
comms.
about that. So tell us really quickly. Let's talk about this
I
drop.
went to Howard to be a doctor.
Because when I known you, I just knew you were going to be a doctor. OBGYN to be exact.
Okay,
No, I'm
we gotta
joking.
speed up this conversation. I'm gonna have to
sorry.
pee again.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Long story short, I made the decision early in high school. I wanted to be a doctor. Howard was, for years, number 2 or number 3 of putting African Americans in medical school. And I got a full ride. I went to Howard. I was always pre-med. I kind of led with that. I got into student government. Oh, I'm going to be the doctor. Like,
That's what I knew
it was
you
a
as.
thing.
Does
that
Hampton have a medical school?
Anyways.
Okay,
Sorry.
we're not doing that, sister.
Sorry, keep
OMG.
But I knew
Pirates.
Howard actually changed and opened my eyes about the opportunities to build a career, or just even not even thinking about a career or even a job, but opportunity to make impact. And you could, it made me stop thinking of just like W-2 regular job that lists on the site. There are jobs people will pay you to do things. You can build careers. They can be non-conventional, or you can create jobs in current structures. And I had never thought like that, definitely in high school, coming from Cleveland into Howard. Howard planted the seed that is what I'm doing today. But while I was in school, I just was like, well, this is my major. And I just kept going. I kept going so much. I went to NIH for a year after school. Got published published in radiology and cancer research.
Oh,
Then I went to Temple.
Little Renaissance man.
Yeah, then I went to Temple. I was only 22, 23. Did 2 years. I did a year of medical school. Knew I didn't want to finish. They said I wanted to drop out. They said, no, take a year off and come back because like it doesn't look good if you drop out. So in that year, I took
And
the
they probably realized your potential.
Maybe they did. I hope so. And I'm black, so that would really mess their numbers up. There was like a few black people.
Keep your
So
black
in that
ass
year
in
off, I
this
took
program.
the LSAT. I tried to go to law school. I applied to law school, got in. I applied to graduate school to get a master's. I got in. And I took the GMAT. I took all those in a year. Did other odd jobs for a year. Didn't come up with anything. So I came back after a year and was like, all right, I didn't like any of those options. I'm going to go back to medical school, did another year of medical school. And in that year, I started a company with one of my friends doing event management and event planning and like parties, the Move Makers, which is still a company we have.
Shout out to Josh.
Shout out to my boy Josh, who we have today.
Ain't you? The real one.
That I partner with. He runs today.
So during homecoming, you doing all the things. You
We're
playing all the
homecoming,
things.
Yes.
All the
biggest in the
events.
market.
Okay.
Homecoming at
I feel like
Howard.com.
homecoming at Howard is normally in October.
Yes.
Late October.
Yes.
Okay.
Sometime in October. I got you.
We'll hit you up.
I know you do.
So that is what I said. This is a second career. Politics was, I stepped away from that, man of faith, really thought about it, supportive parents, didn't really understand what I wanted to do, but I was inspired by Obama and we were already throwing parties. I probably had irrational confidence of like, we're making enough money doing this. I'm going to figure it out. But I've always been a figure out type of nigga. And it's like, it just
That's
made
a
sense.
talent. That's a skill.
I love a figure it out.
Yeah, I love a
I
figuring
do.
out.
Because life be
That
throwing you
is-
curveballs.
yes.
That means you can
At
pivot.
all times.
You're adaptable.
Especially as a black male.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Because some of them still really get hooked, like caught up on not going to the NBA in the 8th grade. So
Sis.
I love the pivot that you can do.
So it was a pivot. It was an opportunity. And I think going back, and I keep tying it back to that initial question because I think it is so important of like having faith in the system. And I think we get so caught up like, man, fuck the system. It's not for us. It's not built by us. Whatever. Agreed. But there's two things at hand. There's a new system we need to build. But in the meantime, I don't know if that's going to take 100 years or 2 years. But there's at least time every day where money is moving, people are hurting, people need food, people need education, people need opportunity. There is a system we're in
People
right
need
now.
therapy.
People need all the things. Black people even more.
And it should
Get
be free
everything
for us.
we can out of this system, and because we're not educated, we're not mobilized, we're not together, we just don't have the knowledge, and it's not enough spooks by the door. Like I prided myself on like going in here like, yo, can y'all see what's in how this stuff is moving? Like, this is how laws are changing. This is how you get grants. This is how you get money. This is how you get impact. This is how you create a relationship with
Y'all gonna be
people who
sick
can
of
get
me.
things done. So
But I
that
gotta
is it.
pee again.
No, you don't.
No, we gotta go.
He's
again.
about to go.
Oh my God.
Cameron.
Okay.
Thank you so much for coming here.
I love
Nicole's
you.
bladder,
No, keep that one in. Keep
bladder
that
is
one
the
in.
size of a pea,
Anyway,
and it's okay.
I talk a lot. I
No,
apologize.
you did. You
No,
did a good job.
you
You
were
educated.
amazing.
Listen, this brought me Teen Summit vibes because you kicked the truth
Yes.
to the young black youth. Okay,
Yes.
You gotta
and
kick
that
love
is
it.
Oh, can I use
kick
that?
the truth.
I kicked
no,
the truth
it's
to the
Teen
young
Summit.
lady.
Summit.
It
Yes.
Was that
Summit.
it? Was
Yes,
that Teen
kick
Summit?
the
We got
truth
our
to
own
the
Teen
young black
Summit
youth.
on
Teen
Dope
Summit.
Ass Aunties. Yeah.
So, nieces, nephews, where can they find you, Cameron? Where can all of our listeners find you? Plug away.
Plug away. You can find me on all Cameron Trimble on all socials, Mr. MR Cameron Calvin.
Spell that.
Mr. MR
Yes.
CameronCalvin, Mr. Cameron Calvin. That's my kind of stage name. You can follow
Cameron
Hip
Calvin.
Politics Podcast. We're currently in season 4.
Tell us again.
Hip Politics Podcast, HIP Politics Podcast, all on all the socials, subscribe on YouTube and all the platforms, or Hip Politics. You can go as hippolitics.net to find everything else.
We love you.
I love y'all
I
back.
love everybody.
Coley, where can they find us before you go run out of here and pee?
At Dope Ass Aunties _podcast.
Thank y'all
Yes.
for tuning in. We love you. We're going to have you back
Crystals.
because we need a part 2, 3, 4, and beyond because I'm not tuning into this
Booyaka,
shit.
booyaka, booyaka.
Bye, everybody. We love you.